afternoon. No, I mean, do you know that there is coffee out there? Let's try this one more time. Good afternoon. Exactly. Okay, welcome, everybody. Welcome to this session. I'm going to say this is a great opportunity because it's not only about data, AI, analytics. It's also about people. It's about us. Look around you. The humans driving innovation in this beautiful chapter. And once again, so many familiar faces. And it's a pleasure to continue this partnership and to see you grow and think together. And this is a very, very nice moment where we are going to maximize this opportunity. So that packed agenda you saw is for us to share insights and to learn from each other and to celebrate the chapter that we are driving as humans. So I am the field CDO, and what that means is that I actually engage into a lot of conversations with you, with your peers, with everybody else here that is trying to do something with the data, but not only for the sake of analytics, data science, AI, but for the so what. How are we going to maximize this opportunity? How are we going to show that we are actually pushing this into the right direction and generating value for our business and for our personas and for our teams, and this is actually connecting the dots for everything that we can do together. So today we're going to talk about this, what we are calling the commodity AI trap, and most importantly, how to avoid it and how to actually be one step ahead. And hopefully at the end of the session, you are going to have a tip or two that are going to help you to think outside the box. This is an invitation to think outside the box and actually be outside one step ahead of what is going on today in the field. So I'm going to invite you to see this visualization. We're going to build it up together. And we're going to randomly split this group of people in two. And you're going to mentally identify yourself with one of the two lines that we're going to be showing in the screen. So our X horizontal axis is going to be representing all those spends that we have in terms of AI. We have a new infrastructure. We have a new consultant that is helping us. We are going to have this training class for our teams. We're going to have a bunch of tokens for generative AI. Anyway, we're going to be spending that is going to be representing the money out. And then the y-axis, the vertical axis, is going to be representing the so what. We are generating actually some micro-automation jobs. We are a little more efficient here and there, and we can actually see that this is actually better, more efficient. We are actually getting something out of these investments. Now, what's the problem? The problem is that we are all here enjoying exactly the same technology. And we are all empowered in the very similar way. Therefore, there is not enough differentiator between you and your beloved competitor. All right? So today we're going to focus on how to maximize that differentiator opportunity that is actually going to make you better than your competitor, because everybody here is empowered by the same technology. How are you going to make it slightly better? How are you going to be 3 steps ahead so you are actually generating that value faster, accelerating that time to value? So for that to happen, we really need to change the story. We need to change the function of that line, and we're going to add our own so-how, know-how, our secret sauce to actually differentiate ourselves from that line. So we're going to have a flashback together. Ready? We're going to travel in time. Raise your hand if you walk through the halls of a Blockbuster while choosing the movie for your weekends. Anybody? Look at that. Exactly. Now raise your hand if you ever received one of those red envelopes from Netflix. Exactly. So we know what we're talking about. OK, let's think about these two companies. And let's think about these two companies in the context of blue line, green line. So they were pretty much the same outcome, right? They were competitors. They were targeting the same outcome. But what was the difference between a Netflix and a Blockbuster? Netflix was completely empowered by the technology. So again, we are all empowered by the same technology, but at that time, internet happened. And when internet happened, they pivoted completely the way that they were delivering that product. And they changed to streaming. And they actually were able to shift the way that they were doing things. They were completely empowered by the technology chapter that we are all living at that time, that was internet, and they started to do streaming. And while they were doing streaming, they were collecting all the data they could to actually do the customer segmentation, the recommendation engine, and everything else that we know that actually generates value in terms of a data outcome. So how do we maximize that differentiated gap? How are you going to become the blue line? How are you going to be the Netflix and not the Blockbuster? And be super empowered with the technology that we have today available, but at the same time really maximize the opportunity to do it differently than your competitor, to do it with your own know-how, with your own secret sauce, and really maximize what you can do with it. So what will differentiated AI look like? I will say that today in the field, we see still a lot of what we call the last mile friction. And when we think about the last mile friction is that when we have these conversations, how is your team engaging the analyst, the data scientist, the data engineer, the business analyst, and the whoever is making a decision based on the data insights that we can gather? And you feel that there is still this linear progression where the business analyst has this idea, and he engaged with this data analyst or data engineer, and then they are the ones who go and put together A, B, and C, and then it goes all the way back to the business analyst, and then the business analyst is like, perhaps I'm missing a formula, I am missing one equation, or I don't like this to be a pie, I want this to be a bar, and then it goes back. Whew, what's going on there? It's that last mile friction that is happening in the field that is still extremely tangible. I am getting a lot of smiles from the audience that is like, yeah, I've been there, I've done that. All right, so what happened 2 years ago? 2 years ago, we had the pivotal moment, I will call it a pivotal moment, in the AI journey, and that is when OpenAI released the ChatGPTs of the world. So what happened 2 years ago? We have a new leading AI adopters, a group of people that is now super empowered with Gen AI technology, for example, where all they have to do is interact with this bot in the most natural language way. I'm just going to ask the bot a question, and then I'm going to get an answer. And I have instant access to all this data, to all this knowledge. And I am not dealing with this linear cycle and the last mile problem of friction when I can have this right away. I can have this infrastructure, this data available for me to ask a question. Well, you may be thinking, well, GPT is trained with all this public data, none of my enterprise data is there, and all that, right? Exactly. So how are we going to ensure it is? How are we going to use that same way that our workforce is already used to, because this is happening right now? It actually has been happening for a couple of years, and they are used to it. So how are we going to ensure that we can actually empower these users to have instant access to this data and to have a conversation regarding your human resources policies, regarding your predictive maintenance schedules, regarding your enterprise data on structure and unstructured? So what's going on behind the scenes is that represented the linear architecture that we just described. When you have the business analyst with the question, I want to know A, B, C, and then I ask the question, and I have the group of people, analysts, data engineers, blah, 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 using their very own curiosity and creativity to answer that question, and goes back to the business person, and this is where you have that last mile friction that I am highlighting right here, right now. What is the alternative? Can we do it better? Can we do it in a different way so we can actually use our enterprise structured and unstructured data for us to empower these SMEs, domain experts, business users, to interrogate the data in real time? What needs to change? Well, it's a slightly different architecture, if you think about it. Is the team the same? Yeah, they're just going to have a slightly different role. So my analyst, my data scientist, and my engineer are going to ensure that my AI decision system is up and running with the proper guardrails, with the proper guardrails, pretty much. You are defining who is asking what, who can ask what is the security, what is the PII, everything that you have as a layer on top. But what is the advantage for the business user? Now I have access to this thing real time. Now I can actually interrogate my enterprise data, structured or unstructured, in a supernatural way, and I can actually accelerate time to value. Because at the end, what is it that we are trying to do? We want to be the blue line. We want to go there faster. We want to actually inject our know-how and our secret sauce into the technology that we all know that is available right now, but in a way that is going to maximize that differentiator gap. It's going to give us the advantage of being better, faster. So if we think about how this will look like in real life, when we have a problem, business problem, usually you have a group of people, hopefully, debating about it. You will have the domain expert, this is my problem, this is what I'm trying to do. Then you will have another person that says, okay, I'm going to take care of these initial 3 steps. Then you have another person that says, okay, I'm going to take over those 3 steps, and then I'm going to enhance it, and I'm going to create these other 2 steps. And you work together towards that business use case. So if we think about, for example, predicting sales, we're going to be, our sales team needs to predict sales and is going to be empowered by this technology, and we want to have access, instant access to all of this enterprise data, all right? So if we think about how we're going to divide that team, we can say, okay, you are number 1, and as part of that team, your goal is to ensure pipeline health. That's it. You are in charge of pipeline health. Okay, how do I think about this from the architecture that I just showed you? How do we make this a little AI agent that is actually capable of helping me with the pipeline health? Oh, well, it needs to be connected to my silo A, B, C. The data has to be validated by D, E, F. And the output is going to be as clean as possible, but in a way that I can actually interrogate the data in real time. So I'm going to use a bot, and I'm going to ask, hey, I am cleaning the pipeline. This is my question. What is your answer? And then that answer that was generated by this AI agent now is what? Accelerating time to value, right? It's giving me that answer right away without going through that last mile friction. And now I do have the piece that I needed, and I can pass it to the next AI agent or micro-automation job that is going to consume that enterprise data and keep building into that answer for my team to have the business use case solved, but in a way that is actually accelerating that time to value and maximizing that differentiator gap. You want to be better, faster. Now, what is exactly behind the scenes? A combination of things. Is this traditional ML? Yeah, pieces of it. But I can actually involve the actual generative AI and the new LLMs. We know that there are multiple LLMs out there, open source, not open source. At the end, every single component that you are seeing right now on the screen is available today. Everything is available today. So what's happening right now is the architecture that we just mentioned that is going to allow us to have real-time access to this enterprise data towards that use case that is accelerating that time to value, and it's empowering this group of users that now can interact with the data in a completely different way. By the way, everybody is doing it yes or yes outside the enterprise, because GPT actually is allowing this group of people to do that outside the enterprise. So how are you going to do it inside the enterprise in a way that you are still within all the security, governance, frameworks, but in a way that you are empowering your people, ask questions in real time, and most importantly, maximize that differentiator gap. How are you going to do it better than the person that is sitting in your table? How are you going to be the blue line and not the green line? How are you going to maximize the opportunity that we have right now in the industry with generative AI and LLMs and every AI agents? So every gray box that you see right now on the screen is opportunity to inject your secret sauce. So I'm going to have a fine-tuned LLM that answers this question in this very specific way. On the other hand, I'm going to have a self-hosted LLM that is very sensitive to this very specific set of data. In another hand, I'm going to have an open source Hugging Face LLM that is helping my software developers team to actually code faster. I'm going to have another LLM that is helping me with A, B, C, D. You're going to have a set of micro-automation jobs that are actually empowering your SMEs, and that is allowing you to inject your secret sauce. Every gray box here is an opportunity for you to bring that know-how and to inject your secret sauce as part of this AI-powered decision system that your team, as is, can now maintain as that hub that is feeding the spokes that are asking questions regarding the business. So how are you going to be the blue line? You are going to ensure that you empower your users with these AI systems that at the end become a set of orchestrated artifacts that are accelerating that time to value and maximizing the opportunity for everybody in the enterprise. So if we think about who and what are the use cases, I am telling you, everybody here, and think about your own use case. So this is just an example for a pharma company, but I guarantee you, a lot of you can identify with at least 3 or 5 of these white boxes. We all have human resources people, finance teams, the sales and marketing, and yari, yari, yari. So each of these boxes is going to become what? A set of micro-automation jobs that, for example, have a specialty. So you are going to be the AI agent responsible for the health of the pipeline. You are going to be the AI agent that is going to be summarizing all the meetings that the sales team is going to have. You are going to be the AI agent that, and there you go, you have all of these micro-automation jobs that at the end are accelerating time to value and allowing you to add your secret sauce and maximize that differentiated gap and bring your expertise to the table. Now, this is happening right here, right now. What options do you have? You have the option on the left, which is, I'm going to hire a bunch of software engineers, and I'm going to build all these agents from scratch. You want to be the Netflix. You don't want to be the Blockbuster. So good luck with that one. You have the right option, which is, I'm going to buy it from the shelf. There is a lot of opportunity of buying a lot of these agents from the shelf, yes. But what is going to miss that? Your sauce, your secret ingredient, your know-how, your expertise. And for that, remember, you have all of those gray boxes as an opportunity to inject that as part of the solution. So what is the middle option here? You can build your own AI agents with the platform that is orchestrating all the necessary components that you have to have as part of this solution and maximize the gap in terms of that differentiated AI that you are bringing to the table with your domain expertise, with your SMEs that are now empowered by the technology, equally empowered inside the enterprise and outside the enterprise. So it's already demanded by this group of people because it's happening already, yes or yes. So how are you going to be one step ahead? You need to think about all of this holistically, and at the end, it doesn't matter which use case I select. At the end, it's the same orchestration. The questions are going to be different. The micro-automation job is going to be targeting a slightly different outcome, but at the end, everybody is going to need to be empowered, everybody is going to need to be governed, have a set of permissions, have a set of guardrails. We are going to oversee this holistically from a centralized perspective, and at the end, everybody is maximizing that opportunity, empowered by the technology, asking the questions that need to be asked, and holistically orchestrating all the necessary pieces for them to be orchestrating. So that is how you are going to be the blue box. The blue box, no, the blue line. That's how you're going to be the line driving innovation faster, accelerating that time to value, and bringing your secret sauce and bringing your own ingredients. And with that, I really hope that you are going to be learning a lot today from each other, from all the excellent personas that we're going to have on the stage. And I'm going to leave you with Chad, one of my favorite people in Dataiku as well, very knowledgeable, that is going to be sharing the next step in terms of these AI agents. Thank you very much.